What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sounds Heavy podcast. I'm your host, Daryl, and with me this week, I've got a special guest from the Brothers of the Covenant. I've got Steven. Steven, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Like right before the call, you and I were kind of just making a little small talk, kind of, talking shop or whatever. And I wanted to let everybody know that Trey couldn't be with us tonight. He was tapped out, straight up choked out in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he tried the Logan Paul, you know what I'm saying? He was trying to hold on to the guy he was grappling with, and it didn't work out for him. So he didn't make it 8 rounds. Trey couldn't make it tonight. I think he tweaked his knee or some bullcrap like that. So, with that being said, he won't be with us tonight. I'm sure he's going to be pretty jealous. He's missing out on a cool conversation, cool show. So this is the Sounds Heavy podcast. I don't typically, when I introduce the show, I don't go into any kind of housekeeping, run of the mill, stuff. But I do think it's important. There's so much momentum right now around Ninjaloot and around Sounds Heavy. And I say so much momentum for us, like for our scale and what we're up to and what we're doing, that I think it's important that I probably start pointing people in the directions of all the other things that we're doing. So just real quick, Sounds Heavy podcast is a Ninjaloot shtick. This is something that we offer up. It's on all the podcast platforms. It's on YouTube, where we get together with bands, Christian and non-Christian. We get together websites, record label people, whatever. Just people in and out and around the music industry. We have conversations. I really do try hard to focus on bands that are smaller and unsigned, or maybe if they are signed, it's on a small label. We do have some artists lined up that are on bigger labels, that are, actually out touring full time and doing things coming up. So, but I really do like to focus on the smaller guys because that's what we are. We're a small band. We've been around for literally forever. And people are just now starting to figure us out. Like, wait a second, these guys have been around for a while. But yes, we got our Instagram, official Ninjaloot band. We have our, official Ninjaloot music. We have our Facebook. We have a Facebook group. It is a Ninjaloot Facebook group. It is an open group. You just jump right in. And I tend to post a bunch of memes and a bunch of junk in there, just kind of letting everybody know what's going on. If we get added to a cool playlist, I try to share it in all those places. So if you're listening to Sounds Heavy, please do me a favor. Go check out the YouTube. If you're on the YouTube, subscribe. Go check out the Instagram, the Facebook, our Spotify, all that stuff, because we are trying our hardest to get in front of as many people as possible while currently working on our full-length album and not playing shows. So it's really, really difficult to get people's attention. So if you are listening to the show, please share it with a friend. If you're listening to the music, share it with somebody. And we absolutely love feedback. Like, it's insane how much we love feedback. And Steven, you are a product of that. We brought you on the show specifically because you reached out and was like, hey, man, this is what's going on. I'm digging what you're doing, digging what you're saying. And, anyone who shows interest in what we're doing, we want to have a conversation with them. Not so much because we want to hear you tell us that you like it. It could be the quite opposite. But we are really into just communicating and talking with people that are listening to the content that we're creating. And we kind of want to explore that and see, what that has to offer. So, Steven, if you don't mind, man, telling us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Brothers of the Covenant.
Well, my name's Steven. They call me the heavy metal prophet around here. You might see me posting some stuff on YouTube here and there. I don't do a lot of social media, but Brothers of Covenant is something that we just started as a group of guys that just love metal music, and we're all part of a church. We're from all around. We got guys from Alaska and Las Vegas. We got a guy in Georgia. A lot of us here in California. But we just came together, just with the passion for Christian metal music, and just kind of got sick and tired of, losing these bands, I started listening to Christian metal probably about, 11 years ago. Because my metal background goes pretty far back, but just these bands that I come across and that we've come across in the years, and they're no longer around, and they just were so talented. And it just kind of sucks to see that a lot of these bands aren't getting the support that they need to, stay focused on, their passion. So just as a group of guys that we have, there's about 12 of us. We just want to promote, you know, Christian metal bands. We want to promote the guys who aren't getting heard. I don't see why
That's
why
awesome.
they couldn't, get support. Let's buy some merch, give them some support. I mean, I like metal music. That's why I want to support these guys, because I want to hear metal music. Like, I don't have a favorite band. Like, I love metal music. So whatever's coming out, I want to hear the new stuff. I want to hear the old stuff, and I want them to just keep making it. So whatever we can
Yeah,
do as a group to promote them and get them get them what they need, the support that they need to continue on. I don't. It just sucks to see these guys have to quit what they love doing to go get a regular job because they don't get the support they need.
absolutely. I dig that, man. I dig that. It's crazy. Ninjaloot, we started in '06. A group of guys who were in different bands, um, late teens, early 20s. And that was kind of our story, man. Uh, we wanted to be like Christians in a band that played music that like had this, those themes and that influence and the things that we believe true in there, but also like legit, like kind of live like what we say,
Right,
because that's just who we were.
right,
And it was just so sad that like every time you'd like fall as, oh man, here's this band that's a group of Christians, and it's like they come out real strong and they're doing their thing, and they're it's like a support, and they don't stay around long, or they swap out some members and they kind of change their direction, or whatever their story was, or just over time they kind of get worn down with I guess just the way things are, like you meet so many people that are different, and they believe different than you, and they, I don't know if it's a conformity thing, if it's a pressure thing, or it's a what, but I've seen so many different bands kind of come and go for various reasons, and it's like, when we went on hiatus, we had all our kids and all this stuff, and we were not making any money, we were losing money traveling, and we were playing show after show after show. And it was like free shows, you know what I'm saying, like guarantees it wouldn't cover the pizza we ate that night. I mean, just whatever. We played anywhere and everywhere, hundreds of shows. And then it got to the point where it's like, man, we're running out of steam. We're running out of support, and we went on hiatus for a long time. And I didn't know that we would ever get back together. And over the course of probably 6 years, we had kicked around some demos, and hey, let's re-record the old stuff. Like a couple of us were getting better at like recording and like producing music. It's like, hey, let's try this out again. And we'd start it up and it wouldn't work. And finally, we all got together one night. And it was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's make music, and let's just find a way to be in the scene again and be around, what I'm saying, the music again. And not so much with the ambitions of ever touring again, or, organizing a bunch of shows, but just like there were so many bands that we looked up to and loved that like fell off the wagon,
right,
or like, like 2010 to 2012 especially was like a really bad time in the music industry.
right.
And I listened to several other podcasts about bands and music and things like that, and a lot of them say the same thing. Like it got to where it was just so hard to do. And I don't know, we've just been trying to find our place. Like, how can we support the scene? How can we support movement, music, the fans? And like, it's been very interesting coming across guys like you and groups like you. I mean, you speak like there's, several of you guys that are kind of in your little clique or your group, or is it like a website? Is it just a social media thing, a YouTube thing? Like,
Well, right now, we just decided, it all started on a WhatsApp, which is pretty funny.
okay,
Kind of, there's some guys that go to my church that we liked metal, and they kind of brought me in, and then we started, just having fun. And I love to post stuff. I'm not a huge um, social media guy, but I like to share. So that's where it started, was a WhatsApp, and then we just kind of, just the passion came together. There's about 4 of us who are really into it. Like, we started the Instagram page um, back in March. We decided, hey, let's start doing this. Let's start, showing other people that we care about this stuff. So that's when we started the Instagram page. There's 4 of us. We all do our parts. You know, I do all the playlists. You know, I have some of the ideas. Brandon, he's basically the handler of the Instagram page. So, you know, I send him the list. He posts them. You know, send him a meme here and there. He posts it. Um, you know, and then we got a couple other guys who kind of give in their feedback as well. So that's basically where we're at right now. I mean, we want to expand and do a
Okay.
lot more, but we figure we better just get, you know, brilliant at the basics, right? Let's just do the playlists and get people attached to that Metal Monday and that Friday Fire list, and then we'll move forward from there.
There you go. Yeah. One thing I've learned this time around doing, because I've always kind of done, whether I've been good at it or not is a total another story, but I've always kind of handled our band's business stuff. And I've never been good at social media. Like I've never enjoyed it. It's not something that it's a science to me. It's like a language, and I don't speak it.
Right, me neither.
But this time around, I was like, you know what, man? It's like I was like, we're all doing well for ourselves. Um, Financially, you know, we all work pretty good jobs. We all have, you know, like different things going on. It's like, you know what, this time around, we're gonna record a song. We're gonna make it sound good, and then I'm gonna pay for ads, and people are gonna see it, and that's gonna be our new thing. I learned real quick that does not work, or at least it hasn't worked. You know, like we made an announcement and we were coming back and we are releasing a new song, and it was just like, wow, this didn't really go far, you know. And I'm paying $10, $20 for this, and I was like, man, this isn't working. It's like, um, but I like memes. Like that's like my favorite thing about the internet. You know, it's a stupid meme.
They're fun, man.
So yeah, so I like, and it worked, man. Like when memes became a thing, I work in a fabrication shop where we build lots of competition weightlifting equipment, you know, and we're all making memes and insulting each other through pictures, and it's just like this really big laugh, and and we're posting, we'll like print them out and like put them on people's machines and stuff, and it's like it's a whole big thing. And I was like, man, I'm gonna put my memes to use for the power of good. So I was like, I want to make memes for the band. And I mean, I'll put a meme out, you know, and I try to do it pretty regular, but I get busy.
Right, yeah.
And then it started to work, man. It started to really like get a lot of buzz on our Facebook page. And I was like, I told our drummer, I was like, hey man, you do Instagram, I'll do Facebook, and I'll create the memes. You just, you know, put them on there. Well, he didn't. And our Instagram we created a year or so ago. It just kind of sat there. So eventually I was like, all right, let me have the Instagram because I think I'm getting the hang of it. And so now I've been posting memes on there, and our Instagram's growing. It's been pretty good. And
Yeah.
but the funniest thing ever was like I paid like for these ads for Respect Issue, one of the singles we released last year,
Uh-huh.
and got like no engagements. Like no engagement. I was like, man, this is crazy. And so I like follow the steps on a YouTube video, pay for another ad, like no engagements. I'm like, surely I'm doing this right. You know what I'm saying? Like this is crazy. I'm getting like I get more likes on a meme than I do a paid for ad that's targeting a certain audience. And then so I was really late to the party with The Mandalorian. I started watching The Mandalorian. I'm like, man, this show's really good. And so I downloaded this little video of the child flipping. Have you seen The
Yes,
Mandalorian?
sir.
Okay, so you know when they're in the little cockpit of the thing, he flips the
Yeah.
switch, and then the Mandalorian turns it off. Anyways, I make this little video of like when he flips the switch, it's us playing Respect Issue, and they go back and forth, 2 or 3 flips, and then finally he turns it back on, and it like plays like a larger chunk of the song. It got like 28,000 hits. I'm like,
For free,
wait a minute,
huh?
for free, yeah. I'm like, so you're telling me I'm paying all this money for ads that no one is seeing,
Right.
but I make a stupid meme video and it gets in front of tens of thousands of people? I was like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna dig in a little deeper. So that's basically, if you look at our Instagram, that's what it is. It's just these dumb memes that I've either download, you know, like made my own versions of, or I just like grab them. Or every now and again, I'll like throw like a screenshot of a cool playlist because, you know, you mentioned the playlist earlier,
Right.
and that's like for bands like us where we're at right now, that's like the new show.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
know, like getting on a good playlist is the equivalency of getting on a good bill. You know, when a couple bands are coming through town.
Right. The
So,
Spotify playlists are killer, you know? I mean, if
dude, it's
I mean,
crazy. Like
it's like
we
a
get
popularity
hundreds.
contest right there, you know? So if you get on one of those, you know, whatever
Oh yeah.
heavy workout ones or something like that, you know, all the trendy people are gonna jump on it and you're gonna get those
Yep.
listens. I mean, it's huge.
Well, I like look at our artist profile and stuff, and I look at our Apple Spotlight profile or
Mhm.
whatever, and we'll have hundreds of hits every month on Spotify, added to tens and tens of, I mean, like sometimes 35 playlists at a time.
Right,
And it's like, oh, this is awesome.
right.
And then I go to like Apple, and it's like, oh, you got 17 plays. I was like, man, there's the playlist works, dude. Like what you guys are doing, and I know you just recently added us to one of them.
Yeah. I think you guys are on a
But
couple of
it's
them
crazy.
actually. Man,
Oh, really, really? I know
as
that
soon
we.
as the new one came out, Creator, right? Creator? Dude, when
Yeah,
that one dropped, I heard it on Spirit Core. And that's the thing. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that are trying to push for these underground bands, the not signed bands. And I mean it's just
yeah.
free advertisement. But that's how I found out about you guys. Spirit Core put out a video and I was like, dude, these guys are going on the next Metal Monday playlist for sure. And so I think we have Creator on one. We also have a Respect issue recently we put on. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah,
We really appreciate it, dude. Yeah, that's
no,
man.
dude.
That
Hey,
Spirit
we
Core video
appreciate
reaction
you.
was
That's
awesome.
what we need in our lives. We need this heavy music, man. We need it. Keep making it.
Well, there's definitely more coming. There's definitely more coming. Matter of fact, like as you're listening to Sounds Heavy, the intro is a piece of one of our songs that we're going to release on this album.
Sweet. So
So
pumped.
that opening riff is part of a song that's going to be on the album. So like, you know, we've got we've got over half of the album recorded, and we're doing vocal tracking now, and we've got demos for the other songs. And the only problem is, and I'm sure you've heard us say it on the show, is that our drummer tours and plays in a band called
Right.
Sire, like this Irish folk band, whatever. And like I think he's in Alaska this week, and he was supposed to be in Colorado at the end of the month, but they just announced today that their show's canceled. So it's been really tough,
Right.
to nail him down, and like because we're doing it ourselves and we're not like paying for studio
Hmm.
time. It's just kind of like it'd be different if it was like, oh, here's the month that we're working on this in the studio. We kind of do it in and around his schedule, and I do all of the instrument tracking, like well, he does the drums,
Hmm.
and then the final mixing and mastering, and he does vocals. I do the guitar and bass and the initial mixing here at my studio, and so far it's worked out pretty good, man. And it seems like the reception has been really good to the songs that we've released.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's been nice. But those reactions, dude, that's something new to us, because like it used to be for us 2006 to 2012 when we played regular and open for
Right. Had to
national
just
acts
been
and stuff like that.
just live shows is where you're gonna get your recognition
Yeah,
back in '06, man.
right, right. And that's all we knew. So like and I'm sure we've said this on the show before, but the way we wrote our music, we wrote it specifically for the dancing. So it was like this is what we like, two steps and
Yep.
breakdowns. So what are we gonna do? We're just gonna play those, and then like try to mix it up a little bit. Like, oh, okay, here's a riff, boom, breakdown. All right, here's a breakdown into a breakdown. What do we do next? It's time for a two-step. We haven't done that in a little while.
Right.
And the idea was that as we're on stage, we liked watching everyone mosh and dance and do all that stuff. So we just kind of wrote all of our music over the years that catered to the experience that we wanted to have at the
Right.
show. And then
Which is
now
awesome, by the
it's
way.
like, well, it was at the time, and it's I don't know that like in hindsight, right, as a professional musician would look at
Right.
things that you would consider Ninjaloot good songwriters, because we're probably not. But like the way we approached it was this: is like, all right, we're a bunch of hungry Christian dudes who like to mosh, and we like to watch people throw down. So what are we going to do with our song? All right, we're going to write about our experiences with God and make people punch each other and dance. I mean, like, what else do you do? And it just worked. It was a lot of fun. We got to open for almost every single band we ever loved and respected.
Right.
And we got to play Cornerstone Festival in
That's
2011,
huge.
which seems like a lifetime ago. We got to hang out with the dudes from Plea for Purging and Brian Welch's band. and we got to. It was awesome because we were supposed to. It was supposed to be us for today, Love and Death, which was just Brian Welch from
Mhm.
Korn at the
Yep.
time, his like
Yep.
solo project, and then POD at Cornerstone, and we played the side stage as the bigger bands were kind of subbing in
Uh-huh.
and out. So it was like you had all of our influence. We got to open for all of our big influences in music in one day.
So awesome.
It was the best worst trip of our lives because everything that could go wrong went wrong, including the generator going out on the stage, um, and really messing up all the show times. But it was, and we broke down on the way home. But it was an experience.
Good times.
But so back to Brothers of the Covenant. So you said you guys all kind of met with at your church, and you kind of got this thing together. And again, I'm following you guys on Instagram and things like that. And you had said that you post some stuff on YouTube. What is the plan like moving forward for Brothers of the Covenant?
Moving forward, our focus is always going to be on the bands. So the more, smaller bands that come out, that's always going to be our focus. We're always going to have a playlist. We actually took a break this week because we got a bunch of guys out at a youth camp. So I'm the lone straggler who doesn't know how to work the IG. So, but we're gonna keep doing the playlists. We want to work into doing some podcasts. And there's a lot of podcasts out there. Looking to get with the bands and stuff. But I want to keep it kind of like with the fans. I want to get just random people on there and talk about their experiences, and what Christian metal has done for them in their lives. Just experiences, because I think experiences in the genre that we're listening to or playing in is huge. It just goes so far. The story is being told through lyrics, through music, and through the experiences at shows. I mean, yeah, we don't have many shows these days, but I think they're coming back around. So, but that's where we want to go. We want to go do podcasts, probably maybe do some YouTube videos. The sky's the limit, but the main focus is always just going to be, the bands. It's not really Brothers of the Covenant. It's the bands. It's all about them. That's what we want to do.
Heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. And this time around, with us pushing the Ninjaloot stuff, I had this idea because when we were kind of early on, we had a group of young kids that followed us to every show, and it didn't matter if we played 3 times a week. Like they would go. We practiced in a U-Haul shed in like a they have like the storage
Right.
unit, in places or whatever. So we practiced in one of those, and these same kids would come out, man. They'd bring all their friends, they'd bring their families. And sometimes just at rehearsal, we'd have, 8 to 10 kids just kind of standing outside dancing, kind of whatever.
Right.
And so that became the street team. It was like the Ninjaloot street team. And then actually what we did was sometimes we'd rehearse and we'd be jamming, writing new stuff. And then we'd let them kind of come in and just make noise and on our instruments, and then we would dance for them. And they called it Ninjaloots with a Z. And so I remember one night, we told them, like, all right, we're going to play our set, and then we want you guys to play everybody's breakdown, which is like just one long song of breakdowns, which is the intro to this track is just the instrumental, one section of the instrumental for that song. And then we wrote the idea behind the song. It's on our first EP, which is available on our YouTube. The idea was we just wrote just a breakdown song. It was like, let's just play breakdown and just breakdown. And that just be like the thing we do at the end of the set, and it's like, that's we're out. And when we were writing the lyrics for the song, the lyrics were all like the like really rude and dumb crap people said to us, like while we were starting our band, and some of the overly like ridiculous Christian things that people would say to us, like you can't scream and worship God, you can't be a Christian and have tattoos, like all the stereotypical dumb crap that usually makes people not like Christians in the first place. They're like, here's what we'll do. We'll write a song and take all the things you said. We're just gonna put them in the song. And so what we did was we took this street team and we're like, all right, guys, here it goes. We're gonna make any kind of announcements. We're gonna play it. What would usually happen is we would play everybody's breakdown, and then we'd end it. Sets over, the night's over. We're done, and then people would start chanting one more time, one more time. So then we would act like we're not gonna do it, and then we would do it, and then sometimes we'd go 3 rounds, which is insane and dumb. But so we do that. So there was one night we're like, all right, we put the instruments down, and then these kids all came on stage and picked up the stuff, and then they played the song for us while we got out in the crowd and mobbed.
Ah, sick.
It was really cool. But the idea I had was like, man, what if we did a street team today, but this time instead of being actually in the pit and coming to the shows, it would be, online, you know what I'm saying? Like, help us push the new thing, help us push. What I learned real fast was this already exists.
Yeah.
It's Brothers of the Covenant. It's Beyond the Grave. It's Spirit Core. It's Matt Reacts. It's the metal worship leader or whatever the guy's name. Like, there's so many groups already out there doing this and supporting the scene and the movement and all that. Like what you guys are doing, like making the playlist and like keeping the fire burning and the momentum going. I was like, man, I don't have to create anything. It's here. I just need to get to know these people, because y'all are already doing all the hard work and keeping the excitement going. And I think it's really dope. Like as an artist, someone in a band, and a fan of heavy music, especially heavy Christian music, I think you guys are doing great. I think it's awesome, and you should totally keep doing it.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I mean, like I said, it's for the bands, and and for the fans, if anybody feels like, some of us feel where, you get this, this EP from this band and you're like, dude, this band is sick. You're just like, man, I can't wait for the next one. And then you never hear from them again. And you're like, what the heck happened to those guys? Yeah. And then they just, didn't get the support. Well, I think, from what I follow on, YouTube is the only thing I really follow, but there's so many guys out there that have the same passion as we do to promote these bands. And we don't want nothing in return except for good music. That's all we want. We just want the metal, we want the heavy. So keep bringing it, and we're going to keep promoting it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, before, we get too, I guess I'd say before we get too deep in the weeds, we're already half an hour into it. Like, what would be some of the first, like, heavy Christian bands that you ever got you, I don't know if it's that you ever heard or got you excited, or like, what was the bands that really got you going, this is something I want to be a part of?
Well, so I wasn't always a big fan of Jesus as I am now. So it was really funny. So back in the day when I first met my now wife, she was a backslider Christian, and I loved metal and I loved to party. And one day, I really knew I loved her a lot and I wanted to be with her forever. She told me one day that I would have to get, if you're going to make things work with me, you're going to have to, think about getting saved, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if that's going to work, but it did. And my next part in that was, was there Christian metal? Like, cause I love metal. Like, I don't know of Christian metal. Well, it turns out I was already listening to As I Lay Dying at the time. I didn't know they were Christian. I was already listening to Norma Jean at the time. Didn't know they were Christian. So those were probably the first 2 Christian metal bands that I listened to without knowing. But once I got saved, I was like, head first into anything. I'm on, Ask Jeeves, trying to find these bands, like what Christian metal band.
That's old school right there.
And I remember coming across Impending Doom. And it was so funny because I think there's another band called Impending Doom from like another country, and they're pretty like satanic, I guess. So I was really skeptical on them, and I listened to, I want to probably say Nailed Dead Risen, and I was like, dude, these guys are Christian? Yeah. I was like, there's no way these guys are Christian. There's no way. But then when I found out they were, I was like, if there's one band like this that's Christian, There's got to be more. So I just went all crazy. I was on, remember back in the days, LimeWire. I was on
Oh
stealing
yeah.
everything, man. The Christian I was.
I gotta find this Christian band so I
I
can steal
stole
from
all the
them.
Christian music. Oh man, I felt bad. I ended up buying a lot of that stuff over because I felt bad, super convicted over after
Mm.
that. But
Oh, hey, well, before we go too far, like with Impending Doom, you heard Nail Dead Risen, but did you hear their I think it's like their Condemned
dude, that
EP?
one with all the pig squeals, bro. Dude, that
Yes.
one,
Dude, Brooks
dude,
Pig Squeals were
Condemned.
insane.
Dude, that was the first. Actually, that was the first Condemned. I didn't even hear the Condemned off of Nail Dead Risen first. I ripped it from LimeWire. Condemned. I had it on my Apple iPod, and I was smashing that everywhere, dude, everywhere. And I was like, these guys are so dope. And then it was so funny because when I bought Nail Dead Risen, I was like, this isn't even the right song.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
still
yeah. That
super
was
heavy, but that one with the pig squills is so good, man. So good.
yeah, that was unfortunate that it wasn't the same. And I really enjoyed
Yeah.
the EP. I enjoyed the EP way
Dude,
more
it's
than the
so
album.
good.
But we got to open up for them while they were touring with Nail
Oh,
Dead
that's so
Risen.
cool.
And live it was cool, but he didn't rip those pig
Right.
squeals. But dude, he was super nice. We got to hang out,
Yeah, those guys are cool, man. Those
before
guys,
the show.
I've hung out with them a few times. I've seen them about 5 or 6 times, and every time they're like the sweetest dudes. Like just
Yeah, dude.
conversation, take you in the back, talk about Jesus and metal. It's so cool. Good dudes.
What do you think about his solo project, Man of God?
I'm not a big fan of it.
Really? You don't like the death
No,
trap?
I'm not.
The
I'm not
death
a big fan of
core
it.
trap music?
I love Brooke, man. So, Brooke, if you listen to this, man, I love
Yeah.
you, dude. But it's not my style. It's not my style.
I love you. I just hate your
Yeah, I mean, it's
music.
just not my style. I love his voice, but it's just not. It's not my style. I tried to get
I dig
into
it.
it. I
I
tried to
like
get
it, man.
into it, but it didn't work out for me.
Not every song is a good
Yeah,
song. I
yeah,
will say
yeah.
that. But I do thoroughly enjoy what he's doing with
Well,
that.
good for him.
And
I mean, it's not my style,
yeah,
but other people like it, so that's good. It is good.
yeah, yeah. I say this all the time to people. Not everything is
Yeah,
for
that's right.
everybody.
That's right. I'm not gonna knock him for it. It's just kind of not my style.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his of Impending Doom especially. Um, what do you think about now? Did you ever get into like some of the more metal bands like Living Sacrifice,
Oh
War of
yeah,
Ages, things
dude.
like that?
Living Sacrifice. We got a guy in our group, Mason. He loves Living Sacrifice. Um, yeah, I like Living Sacrifice. I actually think that I listened to them a little bit before I was Christian, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I like them. I like I like the guitar riffs. That guy from War of Ages is legit. His his
Dude,
solos are
yeah,
so
I've
good.
got to see them. Yeah, they're good. So they're good. They're good guys too. We actually, man. So sometimes I get confused on shows that we played and shows that we went to because for so many years, I mean, that's what me and my wife did. Like, I'm gonna post a picture on Instagram this week, and it's my wife pregnant and Trey's wife pregnant, and we did like a 5 day in a row little like stretch of shows where we were sleeping on like church floors and gymnasium floors and crap like that, and our pregnant wives were
That's
rolling with
awesome.
us, running our
That's
merch
awesome.
table. But
Yeah, I took my pregnant wife to see.
but
It was a good show too. It was For Today was a headliner. Sleeping Giant was there. Impending Doom.
oh yeah,
And Texas in July. Real good show. And
there you go.
my wife was pregnant with my first son. We got pictures with everybody. I was like, yeah, I got my pregnant wife here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But we did a run of shows like that and freaking uh I don't remember if we played with I don't think we played with War of Ages. I think we just got to see them. But it was like Halloween
Ooh.
and the drummer dressed like a cheerleader and like he's wearing this like little cheerleading outfit is like clearly too small for him, and his little belly was hanging out. But he's playing. They were so funny, like hanging out with them out backstage. It's like, I don't know, man. They were good dudes. I'm a huge War of Ages fan, and Living Sacrifice is probably one of the bands that got me into Christian metal. Like, and Living Sacrifice, Trey and I both share them as like one of our all-time favorite bands, if not our
Yeah, they're
all-time favorite.
they're legit, dude.
And they're they were the heaviest thing I've
Yeah,
ever heard
especially
of.
back then. Like they're like
Like,
90s, dude. Like, dude, and
yes,
heavy.
dude. Yeah. Now, their stuff before Bruce, I
Mhm.
didn't love. I couldn't stand their old vocalist,
Uh-huh.
Danny or whatever his name was. So realistically, like Reborn is where I officially start with them. But like the
Oh
Hammering
yeah, Hammering
Process and
Process.
then
That's the
freaking
one,
Conceived in
dude. That's
Fire,
the
dude.
one. Oh,
Oh my,
so good.
yeah, those were
That's going on the next list.
insanely
We're
good
taking
albums.
something off the Hammering Process.
There you go, there you go. A rumor has it that the Ninjaloot guys might be covering a Living Sacrifice
Ooh.
song. I don't know if that's like legit. If that's not necessarily heard it here
Yeah.
first stuff. The rumor has it that there is definitely some
I
interest
like
there,
that interest. Well,
amongst
there's
other
interest over
things.
here in hearing it. So.
So, but man, I'm telling you, like, huge fan of theirs too. And it's funny because we were supposed to open for Living Sacrifice and War of Ages. And oh god, who else was it? It was Living Sacrifice, War of Ages, somebody else. I don't remember. But the promoter for the tour was like completely against local
Ah,
support. He just was like, no, I'm not having it. So the venues that were trying to get us on as their local draw were like, oh man, we'll make it up to you. We'll book Living Sacrifice, and then we'll put you guys on with, which was like, you know, it never happened, but like that was kind of like the one of the last items on the bucket list. And so, but we were like, well, shoot, we'll go. So we went to the show, and well, let me back it up. They said that they'd put us on any show we ever wanted, and I was like, well, we want to play Live and Sacrifice. So when you book them next, next time they come through, put us on. So, but so we just paid to go see them. So we're hanging out. It's here in Columbia, South Carolina. We're like, holy crap, Living Sacrifice is here. This is like a dream come true. And Bruce jumps up in the air, blows
oh,
his knee out when he lands, like finishes the show on a stool. But like, yeah, he's like, man, getting old
well,
is
hey, it doesn't
tough.
get more metal than that right there,
So,
blowing out your knee.
he sure does. He does like a jump and just freaking straight blows his knee out. Like, I don't know the severity of it. Like, but it was like he finished the show, man, but he was not in
Oh
good
man,
shape. And I think the next night they were playing in it wasn't the next night, it was, that same week they were playing in Florida, which at this theater in Florida, which is, one of the places that was trying to get us on with them. But man, I'm telling you, that's just one of the best bands I have ever heard. Everything they write is
it's
just
heavy. It's so
it's just
good.
insane. It's so
Yeah,
it's so.
I never got to
And
see him
then
live, man, and that
POD will
bums
get up.
me out. Yeah,
Come
I
on,
never
Living
got to see him
Sacrifice.
live.
Man, I really thought that with their 30th anniversary they would do like a
Right.
big tour, and that's this year. Just recently they did a 30th anniversary live
Yeah,
stream.
I wanna say I
But,
heard something
but yeah,
about that they were I don't know, I've listened to so many different podcasts, some of them run together, but,
yeah,
uh, that'd be
it's
cool.
understandable. Yeah, another one that was like super crucial for us
Oh,
was
yeah.
POD. That was the first Christian
Dude, I was
band
on
I
their
ever
street
I
team,
ever
bro.
I did.
I was, man, I had
Dude,
the little single cassettes of, Southtown, bro. I was handing
there
them
you
out.
go. There you go. Dude, funny story. I was at a party, and back where we lived growing up. It just meant a bunch of rednecks getting drunk and sitting around and hanging out or whatever. But I was at this little get together and someone put friggin' Southtown on. Like, and I was like, what is that? And just that deep tune, like chorus effect on top of the Marcos's clean guitar, and then it breaks into the heavy with the rap rock, and I am a sucker for rap rock, like just new metal. It runs through my
Oh,
veins,
man.
like just stupid about it. I absolutely love it. I heard that and I was like, I friggin' played that song to death, dude.
So was that
Chinatown
the
was like,
first you heard of
it changed.
POD?
It changed.
Me
Yeah, I
too,
didn't hear
bro.
about them I didn't hear
And
about the
those are
Brown
good
album or anything.
albums.
Yeah. What's crazy is, so we used to have this place down by the lake here near Columbia called The Point, and like POD played here like all the time when they were doing the
Mhm.
punk stuff, you know. And I never went, and I actually heard about the place, so I go out there with a bunch of friends, and there's this like punk band with like a female singer called Viva Voce or something like that. And I was like, oh, I mean, this is cool. This isn't like POD, but it was the first like Christian band I ever went and saw, you know. But I was like, I heard POD played at this place regular, and I had no understanding of the fact that they weren't from here or that they were coming through on tours and stuff. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna just start going to this place until I get to see this band. And it was awesome to get to play Cornerstone with them because like they freaking killed it, and it was just, yeah. Living Sacrifice is the only other one that I'm like, oh man, I wish, because see, I'm a
Right.
huge Korn fan, and so like, but
Grew up
like
on Korn, man.
I was always
Korn was
drawn,
legit.
yeah, yeah, and so like I'm a huge fan, but like I was always drawn to
Mhm.
Brian, their guitar player. And then when I became a Christian, I like went through like this phase where I was like completely turning out any
Yeah.
non-Christian music. And like I had like just hundreds and hundreds of CDs. And the thing was this is like I never had this illusion that I was going to completely stay away from anything non-Christian because that's just foolish. But there was a point in time where I was like, I really wanted to change the way
Right.
I talk, the way I think, you know, like this. And I was a firm believer of what
Right.
goes in comes back out, you
Music
know?
is
So I was
super
like, okay,
influential, so yeah.
yes. And you know, it'll influence your mood. I mean, Eminem says that it'll
Yeah.
influence your mouth, you know? So I was like going through a point where I was like, you know what? Like I want to purge. And so I did. And I was like, man, sorry,
Sorry, man.
Corn. I just quit listening to him. And then I saw where Brian left the band and had
Right.
become a Christian. I followed him and I like bought his book, and I even wrote him an email one time that he never responded to, and I haven't got over yet.
Still butthurt about it,
And
huh?
it was like, I know I'm not mad. I'm not bitter, you know, freaking jerk. No,
He
I'm just
might
kidding.
hit you up once,
But
Ninjaloot's getting pretty popular now, you know?
I don't know,
He'll
man.
be
Like I
like,
got the,
"That guy?
there's a story with that too. So
That guy emailed me."
I'll actually, yeah, remember that time we hung out at Cornerstone and you didn't talk to me? But I didn't talk to you either because it was 115 degrees out there and everyone was monkeyed over. I hung out with this bass player,
Oh.
Valentine, and then found out he fired him. So I was like, well, that's probably my fault.
Because he hung out with you?
He's like, hey, yeah, he's like, you hanging out with that guy that sent me that email. You're
Oh,
fired.
man.
Nah, but anyway, so like but yeah, so I started following him, and then his self-titled album came out, Brian Head Welch. And it's really not good, but it's amazing.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if you've
I
ever
think it's
listened to
pretty
it.
solid. I mean, it's totally like got the Corn, you know, it sounds like Corn. His
Yeah.
vocals, man, he's got really good vocals too. Yeah.
He really does. But you can tell his songwriting skills has matured so much as a vocalist from
Oh
that
yeah,
first
dude, the
album.
Love and Death stuff is good too.
Yeah. Yeah, that Love and Death stuff
Yeah.
is so good. But listening to, you know, like Save Me From Myself was such a good song, dude. Like man, I was so thrilled to you know, to get my hands on that. And then when we got booked to play Cornerstone, opening up for them, I was like, oh my gosh, so this is gonna happen. I'm finally gonna meet this dude. Like, he has no idea how much he's influenced me, like from a non-believer
Right.
and a believer standpoint. I play 7-string Ibanez guitars because that was like what I grew up watching him play. I was like, I've never gotten over that, you know. I'm like, I'm still playing them. And freaking, I'm sitting at this lunch table at Cornerstone. We already played our first set. We got to Cornerstone. We drove 17 hours to get there.
Oh my goodness.
Like we like all worked 40 hours within like 3 or 4 days at the shop. We packed up our van, drove 17 hours in shifts, you know, nonstop, but like just, you know, we got there. It's like 105 degrees outside. It's like 115 under these tents because the side stages under these big circus tents. And all I'd ever seen my whole life, was like bands go to Cornerstone, play these circus tents. There's thousands of people there, and then they get signed, And there was interest from small labels, but like nothing came of it. And it was so friggin' hot. Nobody wanted to be under the circus tent for some band they never heard of. So playing Cornerstone was about like playing a freaking New Brooklyn Tavern show here in the middle of the week. It was like, it was really a bust. But we got to, hang out with these bands. So you fast forward like 5 or 6 hours, like we're all sleep deprived, we're dehydrated, it's ridiculously hot. We played our first show and put on, as good of a performance as we felt like we could. And then I'm sitting across the table from the dude that inspired me to get there in the first place. And I just like, you know what? I'm not getting up. I didn't say, hey. I didn't say, by the way, that email, I'm still not over it. It was like, hey, man, there he is. That's him. And I ended up hanging out with his band later, which was cool. I hung out with them for probably 30 minutes to an hour. But, yep, missed my opportunity. Still bitter.
I feel for you, bro. I really do.
Nah, it's all good, dude. It was a good time. Got to meet a lot of great people. So, but yeah. So, anyways, I'm telling you all these dumb stories, but I brought you on to talk about, what you guys are all about. So, one of the questions I had written down for you is, tell me a show you've been to that is like super memorable to you.
So, dude, I go to a lot. I've been to a lot of shows. So, what was a really good show was the For Today, not the tour they ended with, but the one right before for the Wake tour. It was just good bands on there. It was them. I think Gideon was on it, before they turned. They went so hard. They were good. Silent Planet, like nobody even knew who Silent Planet was. Like and Phineas was on there. Nobody knew who Phineas was, and I was like, dude, Phineas! I was so pumped for Phineas. And somebody who else was on that? Was Fit for a King on that one? I think Fit for a King. Yeah. Dude, it was super solid, and it's just the atmosphere, it was like all Christian bands. So, not that I have anything against, the secular bands. I mean, I was actually just watching what's his name? Pastor Rob Reacts, and he did a reaction video to a Whitechapel song. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw Whitechapel one time. They opened for Devil Wears Prada, and they were so good, dude.
Yeah, we played with them the same night we played with
and those guys are cool. And like dude, they're bros.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all buddies. But the thing is they're so freaking brutal. And like that show, which is why we got picked to open for them, just because we kind of fit that mold as far as like just heavy. And man, it was like it was us, Impending Doom, Whitechapel, My Children, My Bride.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Are you guys opened?
That one is probably yeah. There was a couple other locals, but yeah, it was that's probably the show we talk about the most.
That's a good one
because that was. I mean, we opened for we came as Romans. We've opened for Flyleaf, The Chariot. All these great bands with amazing stories that we. And time we got to spend with them. We played with My Children, My Bride more than once, but that particular show with Impending Doom and Whitechapel and My Children, My Bride was just
that sounds brutal.
Yeah, it was an experience. That building was packed. The kids were friggin' like fighting, like literally. I mean, like an actual riot broke out. I mean, the show it got shut down. People were jumping off the bar, hitting each other with chairs. Like, I mean, the place
that's a great literally
show. Erupted.
What album was Doom playing off of?
So Doom was playing Nail Dead Risen, and I can't remember if My Children, My Bride was playing their album
Oh
or their
man,
EP. But Circle the
yeah,
Sky
that's
was
right.
their big single,
Good jam.
and they were notorious for putting themselves on tour like everywhere. Like they were touring all year long. They put themselves on tour in Europe. Like My Children, My Bride was a grind band. Like they
And they
did
went
everything
hard.
themselves that first, yeah, to get noticed, man. They were no
I've seen
joke.
them a couple times, man. They always
And
put on a really
and
good show.
they were yeah, dude, it was cool. Great dudes, like so we enjoyed playing with them, but that was just one of those shows that was super memorable as far as like just what the crowd did, because it was nasty. I mean, like, we stopped in the middle of our set and told people to stop swinging on each other and fighting. Like, Doom stopped. I mean, Whitechapel stopped and told everyone to open the pits of hell. I mean, it was everyone did their part to make sure that
Wow.
place was as calm as possible. But it was a good show, man. Like, it was a good one. That
That
was
sounds
one
like a
that was
good show, man. I would love to
it
have
was
been at that one.
it was nuts, dude. That was the only time we ever synced up
Ooh,
with
they're
Whitechapel,
heavy, man. They're
and
so heavy.
they were heavy live
Yeah,
too, man.
man. When
They bring it.
I saw them in Santa Cruz, and they played. I think For Today was like the opening band. It was off of the Breaker album they were playing off of, and they played, and
Yeah,
then this other band I never even heard of. They kind of sucked. So, and then Whitechapel played before the Devil Wears Prada, which I didn't understand at the time because I felt like Whitechapel was a way bigger band than Devil Wears Prada. But man, when their bass hit, it was like it was inside of you, bro. It was just I was just like
yeah,
I remember I took my wife was with me and my brother-in-law and my nephew. I was looking at my nephew like, bro, you feel that? And he was just like his eyes were just like big as deer in headlights, He was just like, oh my goodness,
yeah,
so
dude.
brutal. That was nice.
Good. Yeah, man. It was. I enjoyed playing with them, and we never played with Prada either. We had some. There was a booker down in the southeast that he was booking Under Oath. I think he's trying to get Prada. I know he had Emir lined up, and man, it just, I don't know. There was a very DIY like mantra down here.
Right,
Like, it's just there's not
right.
really good venues, and the handful that exist, it just seemed like the metal shows that were coming through were fewer and farther between. And so we had like there was this group, man, down in the down on the coast here, like the Charleston, Monk's Corner, Goose Creek area, and it's like they would just they would just go all in and book
Mhm.
these huge bills, and they would put us on, man, and we got to play with Comrades before they changed their name. We got to play with freaking um,
Oh, that's cool.
Hands. That was
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
face
that's
down
cool.
bands. To
That's
speak
cool.
of Wolves, we were supposed to play with Becoming the
Oh,
Archetype,
they're
but that
so
fell
good
through.
too.
Um, they were good. It was funny. I remember seeing them live. I remember seeing them one time, and when we first started our band. And afterwards, I was talking with them. I was like, "Man, maybe next time you guys come through, we can open for you." And the guitar player just looked at me like, "Yeah, probably not, kid." I mean, he just like straight no sold
Ah,
it with like no enthusiasm at all. He's like, "Yeah, probably not." And then the next time they come through, we're on the bill. I'm like, "Ha! I can't wait to shake that dude's hand and say I told you." And then we got removed from the show.
wow, that's
Yeah,
funny.
we ended up not being able to. We got moved. We actually had some weird circumstances around the whole thing, and we actually had to drop off of.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah.
Inhale Exhale? See that time frame, man. There were so many good bands. We were supposed to play with them, and then what's the dude from Under Oath's other
Oh,
band called? They had that album
Maylene.
Southern Weather.
Oh,
The
okay,
Almost.
gotcha. Uh, the
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, the Almost. Yeah, we were supposed to we were set to play a festival and open for Inhale Exhale and the
Yeah, what are
Almost,
the almost? Yeah,
and then
what's
we
going on? They have much stuff that came out.
I don't know, man. They like Under Oath went on like a hiatus, and then what's his
Mhm.
face did the Almost for a little while, and then the Under Earth came back, and they're talking about how like Christians hurt them, and they just they almost died because of it. Some weird interview I watched. It's like, yeah, it was. I don't know. It was weird, and I don't know, man. I don't know where that puts the Almost. I don't know. I don't really follow it that much. Oddly enough, you start to certain artists behave a certain way backstage, and it's just kind of like
Right.
sometimes it's disheartening. And there's certain bands that's like, I'm you just feel about them one way, and then you feel about them another way when you've actually
Right.
spent time with them. And so that was one of those bands that I wasn't too fond of after we were
Wow.
all backstage together. And so
No, no,
not
I
like
get
trying to.
it. I get it.
Everybody has bad days, but I just was like not a. I didn't keep up with them after that. Yeah, that's cool. Glad we experienced this. I emceed that festival just because we lost our bass player, and we didn't want to. We didn't have enough time for a fill in, and we didn't want to get on stage without a bass player just
Right.
because it gets so empty. And so we're like, yeah, well, we got to set this one out. But I was really close to the guy who booked it, so I was like, you know what? He asked me if I'd MC and introduce the bands. I was like, yeah. Usually the
Right.
local radio stations do that,
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
I got to do it. It was pretty cool. Nerds, miss out. But yeah, dude, is there anything else? I mean, we just been sitting here chatting like a couple old friends talking about shows and stuff. Is there anything else, with did you get, you wanted to put out there? I mean, like typically I like to keep this show, around an hour. So we're getting close to the end of our time, but I mean, it's been
Yeah,
pretty
no,
cool just
I
kind of talking
enjoyed it
shop with you.
thoroughly. I mean, I just want people to, not for us, but for the bands, check out the BOTC on the Instagram there. Look for myself posting on other guys' YouTube pages. Get conversation as well. I like conversation. I like to talk about the past and the future of metal. I just love that. So if you guys see me on a
Yeah,
YouTube, I follow Spirit Core. I follow For the Rock. Who else do I follow? I follow a bunch of those guys.
yeah. I think we're gonna have the
Yeah,
guys from For the Rock on
Chris
soon
actually
too.
did our logo for us, our BOTC logo. So props to
Yeah,
Chris.
very cool.
Refiner, check him out. That's for you, Chris. um, yeah, that's about it, man. I enjoyed talking to you about metal, man.
Absolutely, man. And that's kind of like, again, I just want to circle back. The point of Sounds Heavy. We're going to talk about Ninjaloot stuff because that's what we do. We're going to talk about Christian metal because
Right.
that's the world we lived in.
Yeah,
We've had non-Christian bands on here. We're going to have the guys
right.
from Semper Acerbis. We just did their album review, and we're messaging back and forth with the dudes, and they're so freaking nice, man. They're such cool dudes. We're going to have, non-Christian bands on here. We're going to be talking with them. We had the
Right.
guys from North Haven on, and it's been awesome. We've had the guys from Cleansing of the Temple
Yeah,
on. That
those
was one
dudes
of the
were
first
cool.
interviews we did.
I enjoyed that
They're
episode.
awesome dudes. Yep, and I'm actually recording their. I've done some mixing for them. I've done some recording for them, and I'm working on their
Sweet.
next single right now. They actually drove in from out of. They live upstate from a couple hours from here, and we just met in one of these little groups talking about Christian. I mean, talking about metal. I was like, oh man, and they're doing this really cool thing that I'm just super excited, and I want to get behind. I want to help elevate them. They bought some property with a little shop, like an
Right.
old shop, like a grocery store or some kind of convenience store from like
Right. They're doing
100 years
shows in
ago.
there or something, right?
And yeah, they renovated it and they have their own venue, and it's just such a cool thing. And so a bunch of young dudes just hungry to play music. And with them, it's like it's all about
Right.
kind of talking about their faith. And they're just such good, genuine guys, and it's one of those things to where like I was like, hey man, if you guys want to work together, I would love to help you in any capacity. So they come over, we do some recording, we talk shop. I was really excited to have them on when we launched the podcast as one of the first interviews, and and having you on has been great too because this isn't about pushing a band. This is just like a thing that you're doing in support of other bands. And anyone who leaves comments or leaves reviews for the podcast, you know, I go out of my way to speak with you guys because it's what you're doing and the amount of time that you invest in the things that we put out there is just, it means so much. And you know, time is such a valuable currency, and the fact that you invest that in us, the least I can do is get you on the show, talk about the things that you're interested in, talk about, you know, the playlist, talk to you guys in the comments
Right.
and things like that. So, you know, that's the purpose of Sounds Heavy. You know, we all share this common interest in heavy music. Sorry for all you country and rap fans, you know, but
We bring the
you know,
heavy.
we like heavy stuff, and I love the fact that we can come together and talk about it. And so, Stephen, thank you for taking time out of your schedule and away from your family to come on here and talk about um, heavy music. I'm gonna put links to your socials and to your
Awesome.
playlists
Thank
and
you.
stuff in our show notes. Thank you guys who are listening, who are commenting on YouTube, who are sending us in reviews. None of that stuff goes unnoticed. I try to respond to everything. I try to, at the very least, give you a thumbs up, give you a like, let you know that I read it. And from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of Ninjaloot and Sounds Heavy Podcast, we really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I look forward to the next time we get together here on Sounds Heavy.